Glad you're here, and thank you all for being here. But during this time of uncertainty, when we are confronted by dramatic change in our lives, how the new normal affects us, I find, after reflection, a better understanding of what we hold dear, what we value, what we appreciate, and maybe, for this moment, our future appears less bleak.
So the French Broad used to be called the Longman. It flowed through the valley, and the tributaries that came off the mountains were the Chattering Children. The French Broad was also treated like a dumping ground for decades and decades, and our water quality reflected that. There's a study that goes back to the 50s that showed that the French Broad River was dead of all living organisms for 20 miles downstream of Brevard. Well, us as a community and as a country came together and we realized that's not what we wanted for our waterways. We wanted our waterways to be fishable and swimmable and drinkable. So the Clean Water Act was passed in 1972 with those goals to make all waters fishable and swimmable. And we have come a long way from where Wilma Dykeman said the French Broad River was too thick to drink and too thin to plow, to the point now where it supports a thriving recreation industry. It's an amazing fishery. Folks are coming here for our mountain beauty, but also for our clean water quality and to use our streams for floating and recreation.
The French Broad River is the third oldest river in the world. And we as a community have the honor and the privilege to house the headwaters. And it's our duty to protect the headwaters. We have spent 10 years, my wife Shannon and I, working on bank restoration, sedimentation, erosion mitigation, all of that for wild and native fish populations, for the hellbenders, for the freshwater mussels, the elk-toe mussel in particular, which has a site right here at the bottom of this where Hogshead Creek reaches the French Broad. I watched a fish and wildlife biologist come to tears when we grabbed a few hellbenders out of the river and rescued them into the French Broad. I mean, this is a passionate thing that our county has really looked after.
No one else is home to 7 river systems on both sides of the Continental Divide. We could not be the land of waterfall without them.
So one thing that I want to emphasize is just how special and unique this situation is, right? We have a beautiful mountain stream flowing here, and just a couple, 100 yards downstream, we have a population of a critically endangered species. I can't, in my career as an environmental lawyer, I can't express to you how rare a situation and how unique an opportunity that is. These elk-toe mussels could be a point of community pride, right? This is a special thing that you have right here in this mountain valley that could be a point of pride.
Seeing tourism evolve and flourish in Transylvania County over my lifetime is due primarily to its natural resources and beauty.
Now let's talk about the downtown economy a little bit and the beauty of this valley. This to me is the back door to downtown Brevard. This is like the most beautiful way to get downtown. And everybody comes over the mountain from upstate South Carolina and Georgia. Everybody comes over this mountain to Brevard to experience our culture, our music, the breweries, everything that we have, the Music Center, Mountain Song Festival, White Squirrel Festival. Those things are so important to our community. Part of it is the people want the experience when they get here. But part of it is the trip to and from. You know, it's so beautiful. This is the back door to all that we have to offer.
So many people arrive on US 276. It was designated a few years ago as Potter's Row. Duck Pond across the road, Mud Daubers, and Lizard Brevard represent the Appalachian art and local business we appreciate. They help foster our cultural heritage. These residents choose to live here. Their collective contribution to the community especially in the cultural arts over the years, is significant.
Even though there hasn't been a study done on this specific project, we know that stormwater runoff is our biggest pollution source across the country. A big part of what happens is during construction, mud runs off construction sites and it suffocates aquatic life. We also know that post-construction, there's a huge impact from the runoff from parking lots and roads. And if that is not mitigated properly, it will certainly have an impact on our waterways. That's why many communities throughout North Carolina, unfortunately, Transylvania County does not fall into that, have post-construction stormwater controls that have to be met. If you drive to Henderson County or most of the counties around here and you look at the Dollar Generals there, they have those controls in place. They have the ponds to catch the runoff after the project's completed to make sure that it doesn't impact our waterway.
This is such a great fishery, such a great watershed. And if we damage it with a Dollar General store, we're going to watch the ecotourism change, the boating, the beauty, the fishing. In the last 10 years, the fishing downstream from here has gotten better. People are flocking to this area to try to catch a muskie on their fly rider and their boat. If you look at Hap Simpson, that parking lot is full of boats all the time. It's so popular. This project is going to change that.
Shouldn't a project be respectful to the community's value and natural resources? There are many appropriate and welcome places for commercial uses in the county. The choice of this culturally and environmentally sensitive site is questionable, especially with duplicate stores just a couple miles in each direction.
Mac pointed out that if you go upstream or downstream or up the road, down the road, however way you want to look at it, you find another Dollar General store. That need is serviced. If you have that need, it's serviced. It's here. I drove by at least two of them on my way from my house to here. So this seems unnecessary. So finally, I would like to just ask the developer, Dollar General, to think about a community's needs, a community's desires, and to think about the environment on a local, regional, and global level and stop this project.
What I think we're asking for is quite simple. There has been no study, no real study of the impact of this Dollar General's development on the endangered population of elk toad. It simply hasn't been studied. Some people are assuming that it won't be a problem. Others think it may be a problem. All we're asking for, do the study. Stop the construction until you do this study to determine whether the construction of this Dollar General is going to result in a violation of the Endangered Species Act. It's a very simple request. It was done in relation to a bridge that many of you are standing on right now. I've never seen a situation with a more direct parallel between this bridge and this project. The bridge being thoroughly studied, the Dollar General, we're just going to assume everything's okay. So what I would call for among the agencies involved, the developer that's constructing the project, stop building, stop rushing to completion until the study has been completed to demonstrate that this project can be built without harming this really significant, important, and critically endangered population of elk-toed mussel.
This project shouldn't exist in the floodplain, but if it is going to exist in the floodplain, at a very minimum, it needs to have post-construction stormwater controls, just like they've done on many of our other streams around our Western North Carolina community. So I would urge the developer, instead of meeting the floor that you have to meet, to go above and beyond. This is a sensitive site along sensitive waterways with sensitive species, and we can do better.
The thing that keeps me going and that keeps me energized is groups like yours. And I say groups like yours, but frankly, I've never met a group quite like this, quite this enthusiastic, quite this energized, and quite this engaged. Seeing that engagement, if you look around the world, our attention is being misdirected everywhere, right? There's so many of us that obsess over global and national issues while ignoring the things that are going on our own street, right? Clearly, this group does not fall into that category, and seeing your investment in your community and your enthusiasm for it has energized and inspired me. And I just want to commend y'all and say, keep being loud and proud. This is your community. Don't be embarrassed by it. Don't be ashamed of it. Embrace the fight for the identity of your community. And I will share your example with the community groups that I'll be working with for years to come, because it's been truly impressive to witness.
You are the essence of a developing story. Thank you for being ambassadors of this special place we call home, for our special county, and for being advocates for responsible, appropriate development. Josh, thank you for the protest song. Thank you for being impactful, for building community, as this project has brought us all together. We are building a renewed commitment to our sense of place. So during this time of uncertainty, stay hopeful, encouraging to others, help where you can, and remember, we all have the responsibility to take care of our natural resources. Together, we must ensure these assets are here for future generations. You inspire me. Thank you.
Hey, dollar store, don't go mucking up a valley floor, because there's one thing that we all know: you don't go building where the water